Hi my little shardies, welcome and welcome back. This is Christina with Shhh Online. Today is part 2 of the Sumatran Tiger that we were working on in our previous video. Like the last few videos that I have done, I'm going to go ahead and mute the sound in the background aside from when I come in and tell you which pencils that I'm using. So please feel free to play your own music or listen to whatever you'd like to while you color. I'll also try to go ahead and put the color I'm using on the screen. I will also be speeding up in between each color, so if it goes too fast, just go ahead and pause until you catch back up. Here's where we ended in part 1. And I think I want to go ahead and add just a little bit more, maybe chocolate brown, just along these stripes. That's pretty good. I also want to come with just a little bit of sepia here around the edges and just darken it up just a little bit to give it a little bit more contrast. Alright, I think we're going to move on to the foliage. I'm going to try a little bit of a different color combination on the foliage, and if I don't like it, I'll go ahead and change it up. So I'm going to start with 911 olive green. And I think I'm going to work on these. Let me zoom in a little more. And I'm going to come in with the lightest color I'm going to use, which is PC1082 Sap Green Light. And I'm going to go back in again with the olive green 911. Alright, and this is kind of highlighting a spot I missed over here. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that now. I'm going to use the Goldenrod. And go back in with my 941 light umber. I feel like I do this a lot with the Kerby books, where as I start to add some of the details, I realize that I missed a few spots. If any of you do the same thing, drop a comment in the comment box below. Alright, for now I'm happy with that, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to this next one here. And again, we're going to be using PC911. I'm going to come in again with my PC120. Right back in with my 911 olive green. I'm going to introduce a new color here. This is Kelly Green 1096. I'm just going to come along this line here and blend it in a little bit better. I feel like I want to add a little bit more contrast, so I think I'm going to throw in some 908 dark green. I'm not going to overdo it with this. I'm just trying to give just a tiny bit more contrast, maybe some shadows on the stem. I'm going to come into this back one too. And on this back one, I'm also going to add a little 1096 Kelly Green. And go back in with the 120 Sap Green Light. I'm going to do this one now. Again, 911 olive green. .1096 Kelly Green. And 120 Sap Green Light. And now PC911. Bring that in just a little bit more. Okay, the next one is this one. And I'm just going to do the same thing. So I'm going to be using 911, 908, 1096, and PC120. Alright, if you're anything like me, you're getting a little bit bored with coloring the plants, so I'm going to start coloring this grass here. And I think I'm going to change up the color to add just a little bit of contrast. So I'm going to use 912 Apple Green. That's going to be probably the lighter of the color in the grass, and then I'm going to go back in with something darker, probably one of the colors that I used in the leaves here, just to tie it in a little bit. But I do want there to be kind of like a noticeable difference between the grass and the plants. Sorry to hop around the page a little bit. I tend to do that sometimes, especially when I'm not coloring on camera. But this also helps me see where the plants are. I might not even go in right away with a darker color. I might just color this grass first and then go back to working on the leaves and the stuff, because all this here is going to be pretty dark behind it. Again, I just want to get this kind of down so it helps bring out what I need to color. In no way am I done with the grass in the background of this picture, but by coloring that just a little bit, again, I did not press heavy on it, I just put a light color on there. It helped bring all the other stuff that I need to really focus on forward, so I could really isolate it and see which things are which. And then I can go back in when I'm done coloring this stuff in the foreground and get the stuff that's in the background, darken it up where I need to darken it up, etc. Alright, I think I'm going to go in and do this style here, and I'm going to go in really light at first and kind of do what I did here and just color the whole thing, the whole leaf PC1080. I don't think I want it to look exactly the same as these, but I am going to have to add obviously more colors than that. I actually think I want it like a little bit yellower, but I don't want it to blend in with this background grass. I'm actually going to come in with some, go right over top of this, maybe with lime peel. We'll call that a, I just messed it up. And I do kind of like the effect of that top leaf there. So let me try to adjust this a little bit and come in with some 1096 Kelly Green. And I'm going to go right over top of that. kind of like that. Let me try to throw in just a little bit of moss green. It kind of gives it like a little tiny bit of like brownish color. Not even sure it needs it, so I'm not going to overdo it, and I'm just kind of randomly throwing it in there. Alright, go to this one in the back. I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to do 10005 lime peel, and I'm just going to color the entire thing with the lime peel. I think this right here is more like this. I'll have to come back to that one. So come over here, color this one the lime peel. Alright, now I'm going to come in with the 1096 Kelly Green. Alright, and now I'm going to go in with the moss green, and again I'm just randomly putting the color anywhere. Alright, now that that is done, I'm going to go ahead and hit up these couple that I missed. So 911 olive green, and these are in the background, or this one is, so I'm not worried about making it perfect. And then I'm going to go over it with the PC1080 Sap Green Light. And I will throw a little bit of dark green in there for giggles. So it's 908 dark green. Also missed this one over here. So since I have the 908 dark green in my hand, I'm going to start with that one. And I'm going to go with 911 olive green. .1096 Kelly green. And then PC120, which is Sap Green Light. This also looks like this here, so I'm going to go ahead and this as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do those two. I'm going to start with the 120 Sap Green Light, and again, these are not super detailed, so I'm just going to color the whole thing and then do what I did here and add the colors at the end. Go with my 911 olive green. What is that? And I'm going to come in with my 1096 Kelly green. And my 908 dark green. Alright, that's what we have so far. Alright, I'm going to take 988 marine green, and I'm going to start filling in these grasses in the front here. Alright, now I'm going to come into this grass with lime peel. Alright, I'm going to finish up this set of leaves up here because I missed them. And I think I'm going to use the 911 olive green. I very much dislike coloring in the spine of the book. Great. Now I'm going to come in with Kelly Green, and I'm going to go right into the previous color. Alright, now I'm going to come back down here to the grass. First of all, I have missed a couple spots, so I'm going to fill those in. Looks like I missed some spots here too with that lime peel. So let me go ahead and get that in there. Alright, so again, I'm going to come back in with the apple green 912. Make sure I hit the spots I didn't get. Alright, I'm going to come in with dark green and then probably olive green, and I'm going to start to shadow some of these grassier areas. I'm sure I'm also going to come over top, like this is supposed to be really dark back here. I think with the amount of lines that the artist has, that's usually kind of a signal that it's supposed to be a darker area. So I think I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to go over really lightly. Oh, sorry. I'm going to go over really lightly with some 935 black. I'm not going to really press down much. I'm just trying to darken that shade of green a little bit. And then I'm going to go back over it again with the dark green. In any of the areas that have like a lot of lines in the background, I'm probably going to throw a little bit of this dark green in there. This one has some foliage coming out of it, so I'm going to go ahead and definitely darken that up a little bit because I want there to be distinction between that plant there and the background. Make this really light here too because I'm running the same issue there. Again, I'm not pressing really heavy because I don't want to I don't want it to look black. I definitely want the green to come through. There's just not a shade of green that's dark enough for what I would like to do. And in a lot of Kerby's work, I've seen where I'm not quite sure if it's supposed to be one part of the picture or another. So in this particular case, we'll go like here in the background, especially like this area here and down here. You have to kind of, at some point, make a decision on whether you want it to be part of the tiger or part of the foliage. So don't be scared to make a decision and stick with it. By the time the picture is done, it's unlikely you're going to be able to see if you chose wrong. And sometimes you just can't tell, like, you won't know. So I say go with your gut and trust it. It's part of the good thing about layering too. If you wind up layering and for whatever reason you figure out pretty quickly that something is wrong, a lot of times if it's light enough because you're doing multiple layers, you can go back in and change it up a little bit if need be, as long as, you know, the layers are light. You're working with lighter colors and maybe the color you're looking at is darker. I have saved a picture or two like that before. I'm not looking for this whole thing to be like a solid shade of green. I'm just kind of throwing in where the darker areas are. And then I'll try to add another color or two to blend it in there so it's not like globs of dark color. It's background, so it doesn't need to be perfect. Alright, I think now I'm going to go in here with (911) olive green. I'm just going to add a little bit of this here and there to kind of tie it in. And it looks like I didn't do much to this leaf here, so I'm going to try to add some of this now. I missed this. If you're looking for perfection, you're probably watching the wrong channel. feel like I'm coloring really sloppy today. Alright, now I'm going to go back in here with the 912 apple green, and I'm just going to kind of try to blend what I did a little bit. You can go over some of the darker grass with this too, which will help tie in the color. I want to make sure there's some interest there, but I don't want to take away from the rest of the picture. See, I think that already looks better, and I'm just going to take this all the way across and blend in what I did with the background. And again, I am going over some of the darker greens that I put down there, because I want to make sure that I'm kind of blending that out and that the other plants are in the foreground. I'm going to come in here real quick with 911 olive green, and I'm just going to kind of blend a little bit of this other stuff and any white spots that I'm seeing, like I forgot over here. I'm not going to put a whole lot, I just want to blend it out a little bit. I'm going to come back in here with the 1005 lime peel. Just finish that off a little. Alright, that's going to wrap up video number 2. If you watched to the end, thank you so much for that. Please make sure you hit like and subscribe and turn on your notifications so you're told each and every time I post a new video. As always, everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, color happy, and remember, shh, it's our little secret.